Hi everybody, welcome back to Honest Participants Only, another special episode in the Vulnerability series. I should really be looking at you guys in the camera because I'm going to introduce my guest in a moment. So I'll look at you in a moment. I'm probably, when you record these things, after you watch it back, you end up pointing in the wrong direction. But I'm pointing at you now to my guest, and I'm coming to you in a second. But to you, my viewers at home, welcome, and I'm so glad to have you here. As you know, this is our vulnerability series. I've had the men and vulnerability roundtable yesterday, and today we've had some amazing ladies telling us their experiences of being a woman and how that relates to vulnerability. So I'm going to say welcome to my guest, Ingrid. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
She's gone quiet. She's feeling nervous. As am I, to be fair. This is the weirdest thing. I'm not going to go deep into it as I said to you, this is about you. I want to be speaking to you about how you feel and everything. But doing this
feel free to drop a bit of you in as well.
You're right. This project has really had me testing my levels of vulnerability because I feel really exposed. I feel really, and I putting things together and being behind the scenes is great. I'm fine with it all, but I'll be really honest. All the other stuff, being on the camera, doing all of that, even though it's my vision and I know that I'm the one who can bring that vision to a fruition, the best at the moment. Girl, I'm feeling it.
It's hard. You're exposing yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no words of encouragement there. No, I'm joking.
Just breathe and carry on. No, I'm
joking. No, I'm joking.
Sorry.
So, tell my viewers, tell my listeners, my viewers, tell them about you. Who are you? What makes you tick? What, what's your purpose in life?
Oh, wow. Let's start with my name and maybe what I do. I'm Ingrid Bryant. I am early years professional. I am passionate about learning and education, and that is what I do in life. I'm also a bit of a creative, and I create whatever my heart takes me to, whether that be textiles and art or baking or events. So yeah, I just like to create and put things together.
Yeah,
so that's a bit about me.
I love that. Now, what makes you tick? What is your purpose in life?
Oh, Shay. My purpose is what makes me tick. What makes me tick is things like this. Although this is not an easy topic, but having conversations and genuine connections, I really vibe off that. I enjoy that. So I would create spaces to do that, dinner parties and meetings with friends, just anything to sort of get those connections going. I enjoy that, and finding out how people think and tick.
That's really interesting to me because for the viewers, the people who don't know you, you're actually a really reserved person. You're intently inward. Oh, why? I seem to have lost all my words.
Sorry, it's all right. Today we're going to be
we're going to go with the flow.
We'll do that. It's fine. I am very reserved, and what I find is I although I enjoy that, I don't readily give myself to that, if that makes sense. I will create the space around it and give people around me the opportunity to do that. Yeah. And so I can see them, but I find it difficult maybe to do it for myself as readily.
Okay, so we're going in straight at the deep
end. We're here, confessions on camera.
Let's explore that. Let's explore it. Why do you find that difficult? You opened the door. I wasn't even going to go there straight away.
Well, maybe it was more of just like a window you could look through.
Nope.
No, we're going in.
I see a crack. I'm going through
it. Why do I find it difficult?
Yeah.
Because I'm still exploring vulnerability to me and my levels of being comfortable with being vulnerable around people.
What does being vulnerable, what do you think that entails?
Well, so this is something I was thinking about before when you first brought this up. So the definition of vulnerability, I think, is a good place to start, to have a shared understanding of what we're talking about. So
and that's the thing. That's why I don't dive in with every person. I'm not like, what do you think vulnerability is? Because every video will be, what do you think vulnerability is? And actually, as you go through the conversation, you can then kind of unpick it. And also, vulnerability, what we think it means, apart from the generic kind of definition, actually means something different to everyone. For me, it might mean crying in front of a crowd. To you, it might mean cooking and letting your family actually taste your food. It's, you know, it means so many different things to someone else. So yeah, sorry, go on. What does it mean?
No, it's fine. So it is something I had to step back and think of, because my professional head is vulnerable people, and vulnerability in that way is somebody with a weakness and somebody with something that could be exploited, somebody that has something that is possibly lesser, weaker, that you need to protect. But that necessarily isn't the definition of vulnerability that I would take into life. But I think that is the definition that most people work with. Yeah. Anything vulnerable is seen as a weakness, something that needs to be covered, something that needs to be protected against. But I guess being vulnerable, for me, in my understanding, this may change by the end of this project, but hey, we're here to grow, is about showing all of you and exposing your whole truth, if that makes sense, whether it's good, whether it's bad, however you're feeling, being able to share that, whatever you're thinking, being able to share that completely and honestly, without covering up and showing people what you think they might need to see or what is acceptable in that situation. Yeah, I think that's my current working definition. May add some footnotes.
So with that said, and that sounds, you know, I totally understand it. It makes complete sense to me. With that said, are you still of the thinking that, and see, all my words,
it's vulnerable. All right. Take your time.
Anyway,
take your time.
You still believe that it's you find it difficult to be vulnerable with using that definition?
Difficult. Well, I don't know if difficult's the word I'd use. I do choose. Well, yeah, I do. I can be vulnerable with certain people, but I find it difficult to open up the circle of people who I am vulnerable with. So it's all or nothing with me. Right. You know me and you're in and we can, or you don't know me and it's professional or it's whatever it needs to be for that situation. So. Yeah.
What did it take to get into that circle? So if I wanted to be a part of that circle,
be my friend.
What would it take to get what would it take to be part of, to be someone that you choose to be vulnerable with? Because obviously it's a very tightly locked and the key is kept somewhere very safe, etc. What would it take?
Trust and shared experiences that build trust. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, the more I get to know you and trust you, then I understand that you are safe to hold that part of me and to share that part of me. And yeah, that's that trust, I think.
I know you as someone who doesn't suffer fools gladly. No tolerance for it.
Life is short. We don't have time. We don't have time.
Right.
It's true.
And it is something that I think it's a great characteristic, and also it's something that changes person to person, right? What I would like to know is, do you take time with yourself? Do you have the same intolerance for folly when it comes to the battles you fight within yourself?
No, I don't take enough time with myself. And that is something that I'm realizing and working on currently. But no, I'll give myself a hard time and I've got no time for nonsense for me, which is not, I'm laughing, but it's not always great. I do need to take as much care and time with myself as I do with other people. Some other people.
So, you know, you spoke about your definition of what vulnerable means. Where did you learn that? Because I'm going to be doing an interview with somebody soon where we're going to be talking about generational vulnerability. And if your mum's mum loved or felt something in this way, your mum was likely to feel it. And if she didn't choose to break the chain, then you feel it, etc., etc. Where did you learn or you know about vulnerability?
I would say the majority comes from personal research and exploration of my own emotional intelligence and understanding how I feel and what that looks like. Yeah, I think most of it would come from there because I grew up, obviously I'm Black, grew up in a...
No, we're purple to be fair.
Didn't want to...
Guys, she's absolutely obsessed with the colour purple. So if she could be purple, she would be.
I would, but that's not a choice that is readily acceptable in general society. So I am me. But in my traditional Caribbean household, and I love my family and I don't think they did anything wrong. I just want to say that. But I also want to say that open emotion wasn't necessarily something that was displayed a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your question? Where did I get my definition from?
Yeah. Where did you learn it from? How did you learn to be? Yeah.
Self-reflection and starting to look at things and saying, okay, this is what I know to be true. Why do I know that to be true? Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's explore what other people think. Let's explore what feels comfortable for me. So a lot of reflecting for myself and learning for me from certain friends and people around me who had a different home upbringing to me. So their feelings were just like, look at my face. I look disgusted. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
It's not a problem.
Did you break your answer to look at yourself and tell me that you look disgusting?
No,
you absolutely do not.
No, not disgusting. I said disgusted because I was about to say.
I was like, she didn't.
No. I was about to say that facing people that had a different upbringing and their emotions were just out there on their sleeve.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of looking at that like, okay, so is this the time and place? Like, are we all right? Like, yeah. So brushing up against people that had different sort of views to me, exploring for myself, reflecting on my life. I think that's where my definition came from.
Did you have people around you? So before you got to that stage, because obviously in order to start that journey of research and evaluation and whatever, you had to have come to the conclusion that there's something to learn, right? Something to be educated on, something more that you wanted to know. Did you have people around you before you started or during your early years, not early years of your life, early years of understanding vulnerability, who challenged you, who kind of asked you or held these type of conversations with you or challenged your view of vulnerability? So if you were like, why is that person so emotionally available or whatever, did you have people around you to go, but why do you think it's not okay? You know, that kind of thing.
Yes. Sorry, something's popped up on my screen. Can you see me? Are we still
I can see you. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yes, I did. And I remember one person in particular, I started a job and I was working in close proximity with them. So I was sharing an office and it's just me and her, and our desks were like back to back. So our computers are back to back, but we are face to face across the room. There's no place to hide in that situation. So whatever kind of day I have, she knows about it. Whatever kind of day she's having, I know about it. And I think sort of our friendship was accelerated and our personal connection was accelerated by that situation. But she was definitely somebody that sort of went, because I would find myself being critical of myself and sort of, if I'm having a day that I'm upset, and then I'm saying, oh, no, I'll be all right, I'll put it together. And she's like, but why? You've gone through this. You are sad. That's okay. Just let it be. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like, okay. So yeah, she was definitely somebody who sort of held up a mirror to me and helped me to reflect and question and challenge why I sort of treat myself with a different view to the way I treat others. Because I said, I have time for people's emotion and create space for that, but don't necessarily do that for myself. So yeah.
Do you think that you had to be ready to be challenged, or was it because you were forced into a place where you had no choice but to listen to her because of that close proximity?
I think you do, to a degree, have to be ready for it. It wasn't, you do have to be ready for it, because even though I was in that situation, I am very good at shutting people down. I could have shut that down and been like, nope, we're not doing this. We don't need to. And I could have taken it a different direction. We could have still been friends, but I would have kept a nice little wall between us, and it would have been all professional.
You're an absolute expert at it.
But, I don't know what you mean.
Guys, honestly, if you need someone to teach, if you are in a situation where it's time to walk away and you are not walking away and you don't know how, Ingrid is your person. You're so good.
I'll coach you through it.
Yeah.
It's honestly. Okay, we're going to shut that down and save ourselves. Let's move on.
So, do you think that... No, go for it.
Yeah, I am an expert at that, but I definitely needed to find balance.
Yeah, and that's what I was
always shut things down and walk away. We can't.
Yeah,
that's not how life works. You can't do that.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was coming to. It's not
correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was coming to. Do you think that you have found that balance of being vulnerable enough? Because I mean, we've only discussed it's on the surface. We've scratched the absolute surface of, we've spoken about you being in the office and having a bad day and actually expressing how you feel. There are so many levels to vulnerability and to what it can be for each person.
Yeah.
But in terms of just a general balance of, I'm going to allow myself this today, and on another day, maybe now's not the time, let me hold it together for this time. Do you think you found that balance?
I'm still working on that balance. I still have to be very intentional about my internal dialogue and telling myself it's okay, and we're going to do this today, and we're going to take time for that today, because it's not natural to me yet. So I'm still sort of being very intentional about that. What was your question? Have I found balance? I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
A lot of people I've spoken to about this project have spoken about choosing when to be vulnerable, and I've heard them and I've accepted what they've said and I respect it, and I don't even disagree with it, but personally I haven't come to a conclusion about how I feel about that choosing to be vulnerable, because I don't know if we can always choose, whether it is always in our whether we do always have to have control, and also whether we should. What do you think?
Again, I think it comes back to what we see as being vulnerable. For me, it is sharing everything. I don't know. Okay, so if we're thinking about being vulnerable as just like displays of emotion, you can't always control that. You can't. Sometimes you just need to feel what you're feeling as you're feeling it. But maybe what you can control is how you display that emotion and react to it. But for me, vulnerability is about opening up and really sharing the way you're thinking, the way not just your dreams and your plans, but your insides, your essence. I don't know. Help me out with word share.
Listen, I came on this call telling you that all my words are gone. They went with Corona, so they're missing.
I do agree.
I know what you mean,
to a degree about choosing who you're vulnerable with, because I will choose who I'm sharing. It's not everybody you will share your deepest plans and thoughts with, because it's not everybody you can. They won't appreciate it. It's not appropriate. We'll keep that. So in that essence, in that respect, I think, yes, you can choose who you're going to be vulnerable with and who you're going to share certain things with. And
if you don't learn the lessons that come with choosing the wrong people or the wrong time, then, I mean, you're going to be living that cycle for the rest of your life. Those lessons are the most powerful because they come with so much education, but so much pain.
I think we need to not let fear rule our choices of who we share our vulnerability with. Yeah. Just because we may get hurt doesn't mean you shouldn't be exposing yourself to vulnerability in a certain situation. So you're right. You'll learn the lessons as life goes along. You share something with someone, they betray that trust, you're like, cool. Next time I won't give you as much because you can't be trusted with it. But I think that shouldn't stop us from making genuine connections with the people that are around us and sharing ourselves with the people that are around us, because that's how you build trust and that is how you build relationships and connection. You kind of need to do it.
I want to ask you about that gap though, in between the person betraying a trust, and that betrayal of trust might not be that they've told a secret. It could just be that they reacted in a way that's damaging to you, right?
Yeah.
So in the gap between that feeling of betrayal and that hurt, I'm trying to work that out, and of being able to have faith in or trust someone else again. How do you in a healthy way go, that hurt, how do you not just fortify? How do your barriers just not go up and go, right, actually, it's best if I just stay here?
Did you not hear who I was? Expert wall builder? We're working on that part. So I don't know if I'm the best qualified to answer this question.
No, but this is why you're absolutely qualified, because if you're on your transition period, and if you're trying to figure that out, you're exactly who people need to hear from. Because I don't think we always do want to hear from the people who have made it and who are kind of like, I know what you need to do. We need to hear from the people who go, actually, on this day, it's this. But tomorrow, it could be this.
Okay, so what was the question? How do you...
Once you've been
work
hurt,
on the gap, so you've been hurt,
you put your barriers up. How do you go to the next stage of, actually, let me try again, or let me see if I can trust people again, let me take that risk?
For me, I have to remember that people are individual. What so and so did doesn't mean this person is going to do that. They are different people. They've got different understandings. They've got different sort of backgrounds and upbringings that have brought them to where they are today. So I have to try and not generalize and take people at face value. I have to implore a little bit of faith to fill in that gap there. That's sprinkling faith in, because there is no guarantee. There is no hard and fast rule that you're going to step and it's going to be solid ground. It might crumble. There is no guarantee, but you just kind of need to.
Yeah, what kind of life
I don't know.
You can't trust.
If you don't, you're stuck on your island on your own. What life is that? I believe that we are created to connect. You have to. You thrive when you connect with other people on various levels. So you have to keep doing that. It doesn't always work.
No.
That's fine. Try again another way. Build your own resilience. Oh, good luck. Yeah, but build your own resilience.
Have you ever had a situation where you've been offended by someone who didn't treat you with kid gloves for whatever reason, right? They didn't treat you with kid gloves when you were vulnerable with them. You opened up, you shared something, and it really damaged you for a period of time. And then later, upon reflection, and this is very specific, so if the answer is no, it's
it
no.
is.
And then
I'm listening.
28th, no. But then later on, upon reflection, you were like, actually, my response, they didn't mean it like that, or actually it wasn't as deep as I thought it was, or do you know what I mean?
Might have been a me problem. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right. I say this all the time to people. That sounds like a you problem. Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Yes.
But sometimes it is not a them problem. It is a me problem. I realise. What's your question? Have I ever reflected and found out it was me? Or
have you later been like, actually, I felt all this pain and hurt, but actually the pain and hurt was because I wasn't ready to hear. They weren't actually saying anything to damage my vulnerability. It was my vulnerability that allowed me to hear it in a certain way. Yes.
And it used to be that I would hear something, I would flare up, and that is unfair, and blah, blah, blah. And then it would take me a while to come down, and then I'd reflect, and that whole process where I kind of realised maybe what they said wasn't bad, maybe I needed to hear it, maybe I wasn't ready, and that's why I reacted a certain way, would take a little while. But now I can see that gap is closing. I'm still working on possibly not reacting in such an explosive way so quickly. But that reaction time is getting a lot smaller, where I can hear something, I can react and think about it, and then think, actually, they're right, and come back and have a conversation and sort of work out what they're saying a bit more and why I'm reacting that way. So, it does happen.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to say, sometimes it's not even about the person being right or about you being wrong, is it? It's about being open to people's opinions that may differ from your own and may challenge something you believe you already know about yourself, or something that actually is wrong. So and I don't mean wrong as in right and wrong, I mean wrong as in, well, their perspective, they don't have the full picture and they're saying this thing, so actually they're not in the wrong, they're just saying based on what they see.
So
but
I would have it before, I say before, the old me.
Yesterday's
Right. We'd have the conversation, we'd flare up, and then I'd go away and think, okay, fine, but wouldn't come back and finish that conversation
Right.
and complete that conversation. But now I'm able to come back and say, well, actually, no, this is my pushback. Maybe you're saying that, but this is why I'm reacting this way. This is what you possibly haven't seen. And then they go, oh, okay, maybe this, that, and the other. And it just encourages a much more healthy discourse, conversation.
Yeah, dialogue, whatever.
Yeah, dialogue, yeah.
My words came back.
Yeah.
Do you give people permission? And I know it's going to be specific people. I know it's not open to everybody. So the people in your circle, the people that are behind the gated community with you in there, enjoying the pool and the sun and the cocktails. Do you, yes, we hope, even during quarantine, do you give those people permission to be real with you always? And is that hard?
It is, once I trust them, no, it's not hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to hear depending on what headspace I'm in, but it is absolutely necessary, because sometimes I'm not able to perhaps see the whole picture for myself, and I need them to sort of reflect and say, wait a minute, Ingrid, wait a minute, look at this. And I go, right, okay, you're not wrong. Yeah. But yes, I do give them permission to do that. And they are people that have given me that permission to do that for them as well. Yeah, it's a very, very small bunch enjoying cocktails by the bar with me. But yeah, we do that for each other.
Cool. So I want to talk quickly about process and what you would advise, what you would tell people about how to connect with their vulnerability, how to be self-aware. If you don't have those skills, if you're not used to it, or if you are at the stage where you're blowing up when somebody says something and you just don't have the capacity to see where they were coming from, because actually maybe that person is a bully, maybe that person is do you know what I mean? What would you say to people in order to get them to start a process? I'm really focused on that beginning bit.
I think for me, it started with self-reflection. You do need to take the time, however long that is. It could start off with you just taking 5 minutes in your car and thinking about the conversation you just had with someone, or at the end of the day, or whenever it is, however long it is, but taking time to pause and think about events that have happened. Think about words you've said, think about words that have been said to you, and think about how that felt. Then you can go into the whys and the wheres and the whatnots, but just start with self-reflection. If it is something that you are completely unsure of what to do, just start by trying to see yourself and see how you react and what's going on with you.
Yes.
Sometimes we're not aware of our own internal dialogue. We're not aware of the things that we tell ourselves and the reactions and the things that come out of us. We're not. It just kind of happens, and that's the way I am, because that is. But I think we just need to pause and think about what we're saying, why we're saying it, what we're feeling, how that feels in our body, why we're getting there. I might be angry because so-and-so said that. Okay, but what about that makes you angry? Like, yeah. And you can start to peel back layers and dig deeper, but self-reflection is where I would start. If you can't do that, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, if you can't do that, or you're not sure of how to do that just internally, get yourself a notebook, scribble some things down, doodle, make it art, create. Okay,
yes.
I diverse.
No, and something else I've heard you say before I'm sure, is be kind to yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm an advocate of telling people to do that. Still
Yeah.
working on doing it for me.
Yes.
Honestly, yeah, definitely
Such
have to
an
be kind to
important thing.
yourself, especially at these times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there so two more questions. The first one is about if those people, because that was a very specific kind of part of the journey, the process. The second to last and penultimate question is if they are in a situation where it's hard to remove themselves. So maybe you're in a household with family, you live with other people, it's hard to have that time to self-reflect, or you mentioned getting a notebook. What else can they do if they feel physically trapped in a space and they're trying to have that mental isolation to heal?
So I like to escape. I've got headphones in, music. There's loads of things
By the
on
way, it's a trick
YouTube.
question. I'm trying to lead you
Oh,
somewhere.
are you?
There's something you do.
What do? I do my yoga and meditation.
Oh,
What we're
okay,
talking
good.
about. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting there, but I just
Okay,
didn't want to
good.
jump in. I didn't know
Sorry, I
how
was like,
people
oh,
react.
she may not do it. Let me help her.
No. Shay, let me speak.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, music is a great escape. I do movement to music, which I enjoy. That takes the form of yoga. That takes the form of stretching and breathing. There are lots of YouTube aids if you're not sure how to start for yourself. Type in 10-minute relaxation, meditation, yoga, whatever it is, and it will just help give you that calm space where you can then pause and reflect or do whatever you need to do, even if you're surrounded by screaming children and people in the house. Yeah.
And then my final question before I thank you ever so deeply, is there anything you would say if you, and I ask this at the end of my podcast all the time, if you only had, I normally say one sentence, but I'm going to say one paragraph left of words, and then you had no more words that you could share with the world ever.
Oh, Shay.
What might it be?
One paragraph of words and then no more. Okay, who am I speaking to?
Let's just keep it on the theme, the general theme of women and vulnerability. But outside of that, whoever you want. You can choose a section of women in there, or you can just choose all women. Or actually, if you want to bring it, because the whole season, the whole month is vulnerability, you can just bring the men in. It's up to you.
Life. Okay. No pressure. No prior preparation.
No, I prefer it that way. I think it's much more authentic that way.
Okay. I would say, yeah, no, I know. I'm a planner, Shay. I don't do off the cuff, but okay. I would say definitely be kind to yourself. That is a starting point. It's all right. Pause and take your time with you. Keeping on the theme of vulnerability, it is important to work out who you are for you before you try and show other people that. So yeah, that's what I mean by take your time and be kind with you. Just spend some time with yourself and get to know you and enjoy who you are and be confident in who you are, and then you're able to easier share that more easier. You'd have to edit
share
this
that
paragraph.
More easily. Yeah.
Thank you. Share that more easily with others. I could not put that together. Once you're more confident in who you are, you can more easily share that with others and be vulnerable with other people. I'm not sure, Shay, what else I would say on vulnerability.
No, I mean, that's deep enough, don't you think? Deep and profound. Fine. Yeah.
You like that? Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. I am so grateful that you've taken the time to do this with me.
Thank you for having me.
What the people won't know is we've kind of done this before with a bunch of ladies. We had our own round table, but that failed for reasons beyond our control. So I had to ask you to jump back on, and I'm so grateful. In fact, we've spoken about things we didn't even touch on.
This is completely different to the first conversation.
Yes!
And I think we could have this conversation several more times and it would still be different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. Absolutely. It's a good starting point.
It is. If anyone wants to talk to Ingrid, She is, and I should have said this at the beginning because this is going out as a premiere. And so people are watching now. And at the end, I'm saying Ingrid's going to be in the comments. You would have been in the comments already. So Ingrid is an amazing, amazing woman. And I'm so grateful to call you a friend. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Okay, bye.